2 years back, it was one of the poster boys. It was considered as biggest unicorn of India.
Yeah.
Forbes 100 included him in
Right.
37th position.
Right.
And today, we find that it's falling. What's
Yeah.
happening is now teaching was different. There was a small classroom to a larger classroom. He takes an auditorium. He starts exploring online. Start initially with the tabs. So they start using graphics
Right.
to open the mind of the student. So when the Byjus ad comes in front page, pan India, it gains investors traction. 50 lakhs he invested for the ad, generated in crores. He launches the app within a very short time, 20 million downloads. And that's the first time you find a US fund coming out and investing in an Asian country. They hire Shah Rukh Khan as the brand ambassador. You know, he took up the sponsorship deal with the BCCI. COVID was a blessing for Byjus. So in 2022, they go for a debt. The salesmen, they have been continuously harassing Byjus. In the name of restructuring, almost 4,000 employees have been laid off. Once they started venturing into FIFA, signing up Lionel Messi at the wrong time. In US, they're in profit.
Yeah.
In Qatar, all these countries, they're in profit. In the Middle East, done some very good social initiative. Overall, you can't rule Byjus as a negative company. Byjus should not become a monopoly. Byjus, the rise, the rule. Is it the fall? We don't know.
Yeah.
Jayanth, as you can see, the poster boy of Indian startups, Byjus, which was valued over $22 billion, today is in crisis.
Yeah.
And we can see that, it is gaining a lot of traction as the days go by because it has defaulted on its loan payments and it is in the news for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
2 years back, it was one of the poster boys. It was considered as, biggest unicorn of India.
2022 itself, like just a year ago, like the picture was completely different. They just ended up raising some investment. They started going global throughout the whole the globe, and right now they're just in shambles.
And Byjus became one of the top 100 richest men in the world.
Yeah.
Forbes 100 included him in
Right.
37th position.
Right.
And today, we find that it's falling. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
So, before we start with this, let us first understand about Byjus. How Byjus started.
Yeah.
So, you can you
Yeah.
tell me something about Byjus' life story?
Yeah, sure. So basically, what happened was Byju Raveendran was born in Kerala in 1980, and then he finished his schooling there. He ended up going to studying engineering. He went to the government college of Kannur. He studied in Kannur, and he finished his mechanical engineering there. Then he gets placed, and he goes to a marine fleet. He works there as an engineer. He starts working there. And
As
then-
a mechanical engineer,
Yeah, as a
right?
mechanical
He was a
engineer.
mechanical engineer.
Yeah, emphasize on that. That is
Yeah.
that is necessary too.
Yes.
In this he just showed that he can do anything basically with just competency. So what he does is he goes on to he moves to Bangalore, and during the summer vacation he just meets a few friends.
But was there any indication in his childhood that he's a bright kid or anything of that sort?
Yes, and I'd also heard that he was interested in sports and some stuff like that.
Yeah, he was a very good sportsman.
Right.
From what I've heard, he used to play around 5 sports in his school times, and he was more oriented towards sports than education.
Right.
And he had his parents' support all the way.
Right.
And he was in the school team in high school, and he was very much interested in sports, less on education.
Yeah, and
And
today
today's-
he's one of the
Today's
biggest-
irony is one of the
Yeah.
leading educators in India.
in India,
Right.
and he also looks surprisingly very fit, Anna.
Yeah.
For someone his age, he stands up when he's giving his speeches or anywhere.
Yes.
He looks like someone who's built.
Yes, he is a very good sportsman, is what I've
Yeah.
heard.
And it would have certainly helped him build his different instincts, to basically impact different parts of your brain
Yes.
to understand education better.
True. Sports does play a vital role.
Yeah.
It actually teaches you more about how to play the game,
Right.
right? So definitely today Byjus is handling that stress. I think his sportsmanship is one of the main reasons
Exactly.
that is helping him handle
Yeah.
this kind of stress.
And the fact that he played around 5 sports, maybe he played team sports as well. So
Yes.
he learned team building,
Yes.
working with the team.
Cricket, football, these
Yeah,
are the
and
sports
all
he
of
played.
those.
Yes.
And so that's actually a good insight, Anna. So just fast forward to when he moved to Bangalore. So he just comes to Bangalore during vacation, and then he just meets some of his friends. He's like, okay, they were preparing for CAT, and he's like, okay, fine, yeah, I can help you out, and he just helps them out, and in the end they end up doing pretty well. And then moving maybe a year later, even he takes up CAT, he writes it, and he gets 100 percentile. and then he realizes that okay, like he might be on to something, and then he like basically takes it again to show that he can still score 100 percentile no matter the crowd. And then he's like, okay, I can start off.
No,
like
I
CAT
think why he
classes.
took the CAT exams for the second time is
Right.
it was not to show to the crowd. It was a point to prove to himself that the way he has taught mathematics to himself,
Right,
they work.
right.
Those principles work.
That makes sense.
Because his way of teaching was different.
Yeah,
He never used to go with the conventional methods, formula based.
right,
Maths in India is taught in a conventional way,
right,
where you give them the formula and you teach them how to solve the problem.
right.
But Byjus had a good idea about maths. Like
Ah.
he had a different take. He used to always visualize maths.
Right. Anna, you were also telling me about the fact that you maybe went and sat in one of
Yes.
the initial classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened is after the 2 attempts,
Yeah.
he started coaching
Right.
because he used to teach his friends. Even they scored around 100 percentile.
Right.
So he felt that he's a good teacher,
Yeah.
and he immediately took a decision to leave the job.
Right.
Right, that was he left the job in 1 month once he
Okay.
realized that he has this potential.
Right.
And once he started Byjus, so what he used to do at that time is when he was offering CAT classes, when I had just finished my PU and was stepping into engineering, I was interested in IIMs to get
Right.
into an IIM.
So around which year was this, Anna?
This was around 2007.
Okay.
This
Nice.
was around 2007. So in 2008 is when I went to his classes.
Yeah.
So he used to give 1 week free classes.
Okay.
And he used to tell the students, if you like my classes, then you can pay the fees and attend.
Ah.
So I got an opportunity to just go and see because I was just exploring options.
Right. Right.
So I went to his class for 1 week.
Ah.
And I did see like he was an amazing teacher. He used to teach maths in a very, very good way.
Okay.
It was not just about formulas. He used to
Okay.
teach how to think. How to
Okay.
think, how to visualize the problems.
Right.
And that actually took we could solve the problems in limited time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, Byjus, the way he used to teach was really
Yeah.
good.
Certainly, Anna. Like, imagination like certainly helps in terms of math and in just like analytical skills. You just need to be basically able to analyze the question before you just dive into it.
Yes.
So like that's like a very inspiring start for like a random like person straight out of Kerala moving to Bangalore.
Yes.
And then like and then
Precisely.
yeah.
His childhood has been mostly in the village side.
Yeah.
And it's a natural mind is what I would say.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
way...
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So the natural instincts have led him still that phase
Right.
of teaching.
Right.
Yeah.
So how, when do you think like it just clicked, Anna? When do you think he
Okay.
thought about, okay, I can start like a new startup
Okay.
and like
So what happens, this is what I've heard, what happens is,
right,
after like Byju's appeal begins to grow.
right,
In Bangalore, we have been in Bangalore. I've
Right.
seen in Bangalore. His appeal begins to grow.
right,
His classes, like more students come to his classes,
right,
right? And he slowly shifts from, there was a small classroom.
Huh.
He shifts to a larger classroom, but he
Right.
feels that the take is still like more students are coming and he's not able to
right,
fit them in the classroom.
Right.
Multiple batches still not happening.
right.
Finally, there's a college over here called Jyotinivas College.
Huh.
So in Jyotinivas College, what he does is he takes an auditorium
Huh.
and he conducts classes for the auditorium. Auditorium is full,
Right,
and still there are more people coming.
right,
So it's up because results are coming.
Yeah.
In CAT students, they're finding his appeal.
yeah.
CAT is formulas are working,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gaining the traction because
Yeah.
of that. And finally, like even when the auditorium was also becoming full, he understood that he can get a wider market in India.
Yeah.
So what he does is he starts exploring online.
right.
So he starts broadcasting himself in
Huh.
15 other cities.
Okay.
And again, he rents certain places in 15 other cities one by one, and he starts broadcasting from here.
Okay.
It starts to work,
Right.
starts to build.
So that's
And-
how he's like taken it step by step, and like he's understood the market very well.
Yes.
From the like responses that he got, which were very overwhelming, Anna.
Yes.
Even I heard that they like basically stadium sized classrooms and
Yes.
like just delivering there, and
Precisely.
and when you said Jyotinivas College, I just remembered that like we had also that called us for like maybe a test, like some entrance test or something to just join there. I think it was back in 2014 was when they held like a random test where all these kids used to go and like write their tests. So I still remember it was held in Jyotinivas Auditorium, and we had all gone, we written, and so another thing was like you just told, he started broadcasting it. The major maybe like a stepping stone for his growth was using digital media.
Precisely.
He was the first one who like realized the benefit of just keeping like putting out
potential,
content. Yeah, the
yes.
potential of like putting out content in like digital media.
Yes.
And Byjus was also very popular for their tabs.
That comes on the next stage.
Yeah.
So Byju's, how we started building.
Right.
So 2009, he understands digital media as a huge
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
And students who
Yeah.
had graduated from IIMs, initial students, his friends.
Right. Right.
So all of these people, they come back to him
Right.
in 2009 and they say, let's do something big.
Okay.
So
Right.
even they get together and they think, okay, we'll start something big. And that is when Think and Learn Private Limited was born.
Right.
From there, as you said, they start initially with the tabs because
Yeah.
that time we were still in 2G.
Huh.
We were just
Right,
thinking
right.
about 3G.
Yeah.
We were still in 2G.
Yeah.
And internet was really expensive
Yeah.
at that time because we remember it, at that time you had to pay 100 rupees or 200 rupees for just MBs.
Yeah. You just
100
browse
MB.
like a few photographs and it's
Yeah.
done.
And it's done. And the loading speed, we know,
Yeah.
a person's photo would come.
Yeah.
Their eyes, their nose, their
It's
mouth.
just so wild how it's all grown so quickly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So at that time, he felt, okay, the best way to start would be to go with a tablet.
Yeah.
So he starts recording his courses.
Huh.
Now the innovation they bring over there,
Right.
it's a bit different. See, they didn't go with the conventional way of just recording the classes, what's taught on the board.
Right.
So they start using graphics
Right. Right.
to open the mind of the student. Right. So it starts, and this is a very tedious task,
Right.
trying to take classes with graphic because there needs
Yeah.
to be a lot of takes and you cannot tell anything else. So what Byju starts doing is he starts using graphics so that it will open the mind of the students.
Right.
So he can show it on a visual note.
Right.
But this is a very tedious process because to shoot even a 5-minute video of that graphic,
Right.
it would take 2-3 days to
Right,
shoot.
right.
And the complete process to get the video done, it would be somewhere around 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And once he starts doing this, it's a bit time consuming because he started for CAT. And CAT is a huge syllabus.
Yeah.
So, yes, they put in their efforts. The team
Yeah.
put in their efforts at that point of time.
And I was also speaking to a few friends of mine, Anna, who work at Byjus right now. So they're also working in the same field. So they're helping in making the VFX and like all of that. So they help in making the videos like come to life, basically. So he was telling me that, in a month full of work, they can get maybe 15 minutes of video out. Like that's how tedious the process is. Because every single like detail has to be focused on and worked on, and it's very time consuming, like you said.
It's very much time consuming.
Right.
And that's what he does. After those courses are done, they start putting it on tab and start selling it.
Yeah.
Now, an interesting phase that happens. This is a story that I've heard.
Yeah.
So Byju's, they start doing good. He was parallelly running his CAT coaching classes,
Right.
which was generating a good amount of revenue for him.
Huh.
And he had made some good amount of money by the time in 2010 or 2011. Right. And he was very much fond of buying a Benz car.
Okay.
Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
Now there comes a stage where he can go big. Like start publishing about advertising and publishing about his startup. Right. And he has somewhere around 50 lakhs of money. And he wants to buy a Mercedes Benz. So his team goes and convinces him, no, you try to use that money for a ad.
Okay.
So what Byjus does is finally he agrees.
Okay.
He lives his Mercedes Benz dream for that moment.
Okay.
And he invests that money in the front page ad.
Okay.
Pan India.
Okay.
So once the Byjus ad comes in front page, Pan India, it gains investors traction.
Oh, right.
So you would have heard there's a famous investor called Ranjan Pai. He's an associate of Mohan Das Pai. Mohan Das Pai of Infosys background. So Ranjan Pai gets very much interested, and since it's based in Bangalore, they are in Bangalore.
Right.
He actually comes forward to invest in Byjus.
Oh,
Seed funding round.
yeah. Just look at how it happened,
And there is a huge amount of money. 50 lakhs he invested for the ad.
Yeah.
It generated in crores
Yeah.
for him. Investment came in crores. Mohandas Pai also, he also comes in. He also invests in Byjus. So in the seed funding phase, you find that Byjus, they get a huge amount of investment for this ad that they do.
Right. Alright, you just mentioned seed funding. So like, can you just explain what seed funding means, like in just very short?
If we have to speak about funding, let me walk you through the phases of funding.
Right.
First, we have something called as pre-seed funding.
Okay.
Pre-seed funding is the phase where you get your friends or families, they pull in the money and they try to start a company. Right? That's a pre-seed funding stage. The seed funding stage is when the investors walk in because of the idea. Right? They believe in the idea, they believe in the scalability of the idea. That is when they walk in. Then next you have different categories of funding. You have Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. So these are phases. For example, Series A is all about market expansion. That is in terms of advertising, marketing expenses. So you go for a Series A funding. And generally you get more share in that point of time. You buy it in the form of equity and you get a higher share of equity in Series A. Series B, the share of equity reduces, but again, it is for international expansion in the sort. Series C, D, F is again for further investments into different technologies, businesses, as and when the need arises.
And do they follow the same chronology, like you can't skip like A and go to C?
No, they generally, it's a convention. See, there is a fluidity. The series of funding they tell, because Series B, suppose you are giving 5% of funds, 5% of your equity in Series B. Series C would be giving somewhere around 1% to 1.5%. Series D is around 0.75, 0.5.
And it also shows the growth of the company. Like
Yes.
you did not stop at A. You moved to B, you moved to C, you moved to D.
Everyone wants to move to Series E or F funding. Why? Because at that point of time, suppose your equity is like the equity that you put out will be 0.2%, 0.5%, or 0.8%. It has huge value.
But the returns are low.
Yes, the investment that comes in, it comes in the last Series F funding that Byjus went in. He raised around 800 million for I think less than 1%. Right. So the amount of investment is huge in that point.
So seed funding is basically like you're just planting seeds in different series, and you just watch it grow.
Most often in most of the companies you find that they don't go beyond Series A or B funding because they want to hold on to their stake. Right. But the Byjus has gone still Series F. We can discuss about that.
Okay. So let's just move to let's move back to pre-seed funding, and so seed funding. So you were speaking about how he just put out newspaper ads and he got a lot of traction instead of a Mercedes Benz, which is sounds like the best trade ever.
Yes.
So can you just take me through who were the initial investors and how did he gather their attention?
So initial investors, as I told you, it was Mohandas Pai and Ranjan Pai. Now post that they start working on the idea. The tablets course starts to sell. Right. And they start expanding. They start looking at a bigger market. They were looking at only CAT and GRE, GMAT, those kind of markets. Now they start looking at first standard to 12th standard market. School, yes, and school going and college going. And this was a market which was untapped online because 11th, 12th, 10th, 11th, 12th, these 3 years are very, very crucial for students in India. Right?
There's a lot
especially for parents. They feel these are the years which define their career. Right.
And that's why they keep feeding us from the beginning. They're 10th, you finished 10th, 12th. And just in general, anxiety and energies are intensified in that time.
At that point of time. So he looks at that market and he starts making videos on that. And he starts launching tabs with respect to content loaded with K plus 12. Right? Kids plus 12 is what we call that. So they start coming out with the tabs start to do well. Now he even latches onto another idea after this. He thinks of an app. So Byju's app. So Byjus starts investing in app from 2012 or 13, somewhere around that time. And it takes some time. After a series of up and down, 2015. 2015.
When?
He couldn't launch the app. He needed more funding with respect to all this. He goes for a Series A funding.
Okay.
So Series A funding happens with Sequoia Capital,
Ah.
and after the funding, he launches the app.
Yeah.
In 3-4 months later,
Right.
and the app receives huge attention
Okay.
within a very short span, 20 million downloads,
Okay.
right? So it gains huge traction.
Yeah, and he also had like premium services, right? Where he had like paid service.
It's a freemium.
Premium.
Freemium, because so certain classes were free.
Yeah.
Post that, if you wanted, you had to buy the.
And now that you think of it, Anna, it also applies back to the idea where he started when you told me that he did like a free class for a week.
Yes.
Like, and then he did like
It just translated in the app.
He just translated the same concept into the app. Yeah.
True. And further, after that app, again he goes for another round of funding.
Right.
And that time, a major event happens.
Okay.
The Facebook owners, Mark Zuckerberg, they have a Chan Zuckerberg initiative. He and his wife are the owners of it. And that's the first time you find a US fund coming out and investing in an Asian country.
Yeah.
That was the first instance.
Yeah, that was the first. Like, yeah, there was a lot of noise, Anna. Then, like, when it happened, these guys were the first guys to receive, like, you know, funding from like such thing like
Zuckerberg Chan initiative.
The initiative, like the whole initiative, Anna. Like it's just like so.
It's like a dream. Yeah, it's like a dream that was running.
Yeah.
And there was another bigger event that happened that year, 2016.
Okay.
Launch of Jio.
Jio, oh right.
So when Jio came, data rates were slashed.
It just multiplied the rate of growth for
Byjus, all the apps, manifold growth.
Yeah.
Right? And for Byjus, since it was a video-based content consumption,
Yeah.
Jio giving that free data every day, 1.5 GB or 2 GB, just
blessing.
accelerated the market for him. Right? After that, it's all been, they have taken a good series of steps.
Yeah.
Their focus started towards marketing and acquisitions.
Okay.
They start acquiring many other companies too, because they are getting good sources of funding.
Right.
So Byjus goes on a spree of acquiring companies like EduRite.
Yeah. From the Pearson's group, no, like EduRite, yeah. So they, so they basically start taking like shares of the market from different people, and they gather more of a market than they've already gathered, and they start putting out different services.
True. Yes. So they start focus. No, it's more on branding perspective. See, from 2016, if you see Byjus, content-wise, they were anyway growing. They had a good idea with respect to content, what needs to be done, those programs. But the focus shifted towards more of marketing and branding. Okay. They did very good marketing and brand. The ideas that they came up with were really good. For example, in 2017, they hire Shah Rukh Khan as the brand ambassador.
And
that was a golden move.
That was a milestone, certainly.
Yes. That was a golden move, and Shah Rukh Khan obliges and he becomes the brand ambassador. Yeah. Now immediately they have the pan-India appeal, and the kind of ads that were coming out were really trendy too at that time.
Inquisitive, yeah.
Yes, the things that were coming, and even post that, come 2018-19, they co-partner with Disney.
Disney, yeah.
For students, for kids till 1 to 3rd standard, they start using Disney cartoons to teach them.
Yeah. Until then, like, they hadn't tapped that market now. It was basically from 4th grade to 10th grade that they were focusing on. Yes. And then they got Disney on board. And from 1 to 3rd grade, they just monumentally just changed the whole learning process of all of these kids. And like, it was way more impactful and
very much. Yeah. Kids started to see, they told, come fall in love with learning.
Yeah. Right. Fall in love with learning. Like, that's the tag they use, and Shah Rukh Khan also says it, and in so many ads, like it just speaks about the details of like how much attention that they're grabbing through small bits.
Yes. Yeah. And they keep on acquiring more and more startups are being acquired. Byjus almost they have for today they have acquired more than 39 companies. Right. So they were on an acquisition drive also, and again Series D funding, Series E funding. So they used to take money from the investors and then again go for market expansion. And post 2017 also they start looking at international markets. Yeah. Because Byjus starts making noise even in US and in the Middle East. Yeah. They have got a very good market, is what they realize, and definitely with directors from Zuckerberg Chan Initiative, all this, they have a good access into these markets, right?
Plus it's like basically they have the repository for it. They've made all of those courses, all of the all of the content is ready. You just have to pump it to different people. And the fact that English is such a majorly spoken language throughout the world, they can use it in any English speaking country. Yeah, so that certainly helped them to move to US and then a few like European countries as well, and like to the Middle East.
And they were, as I told you, it's all about branding and marketing. They even, if you can, 2016 and 17, I mean in 16, when Indian cricket team, they used to wear jersey which had the name Oppo. Most of us used to complain, a Chinese company name is there on the brand.
On the Indian jersey.
Indian jersey.
Yeah.
But in 2017, when Byjus, he took up the sponsorship deal with the BCCI. And when Byju's name came up, it was a moment of pride for many people that finally Indian company is sponsoring.
Exactly. And I still remember, like that was the time when they started wearing test jerseys also. And even the test jerseys had like sponsors. Like until then, it was basically just the test jerseys were pretty plain. And these were the first ones to start off putting it on their test jerseys as well. And and cricket, like there are a lot of
in India,
viewers
cricket
in
is
India.
religion.
Yeah. And
Cricket is a religion in India.
for almost every kid growing up. And they are like it was such a smart move, like it just there are no like disadvantages of that move.
True.
Yeah.
And the growth story rises. Byju's keeps on, taking more funds, acquiring more companies, and growth starts. And the peak moment comes in 2020. Though it was a disastrous year for everyone, the emergence of COVID, for Byju's it was just a blessing.
EdTech just boomed throughout the world now, basically.
Adoption of digital technologies accelerated during this period. And online classes, which were considered as optional before, became the norm in 2020 and 21. That was the time, Byju's capitalized the most. And most of the investors, they started flocking to tech companies. And Byju's, with its volumes of growth that it was projecting, it was, just a blessing. COVID was a blessing for Byju's.
And I think they were going around Series F, no?
Series F funding had started around 2019.
So it was like a good time to raise more and like expand more.
Yes. 2017. And post that they were going for private equity funding, venture funding. So these are different fundings where they only go to certain companies and they take it. It's not open for all. They are looking for making deals with particular companies.
And I'm just curious, like why do you think they went till Series F, like Series E, F? Why did they push it that far for like funding?
Yes, you have a very good point. Why did they go till Series F funding if Byju's was generating so much of revenue? Right? Well, Byju's was looking at changing the way the world learned. This was his dream, Byju's. And so what he did was he started acquiring a lot of startups and companies which were into education field. And one of the famous acquisitions, used to raise investment and then go and acquire these companies. His famous investment was White Hat Jr. Now, White Hat Jr. was a controversial buy, and it still cost Byju's a lot even today. I'll come to the financials about that later. But White Hat Jr. they bought it in 2020, and they even went on to buy Akash. Akash had a huge presence in India offline, and it was one of the most valued deals because it was a $1 billion deal.
Right. It was like some 950 million something, around $1 billion.
$1 billion.
That's just
a huge amount
of money.
And everyone's eyes open, like, what is this?
Right? What is happening?
So, and Byju's had a very good set of investors now because of its reach, because of its access to US markets, to Arab markets. They had got in contact with a very good team of investors: BlackRock, Sequoia Capital, Tiger Capital. All these guys were lining up to invest in Byjus, help Byjus. For example, during the Akash acquisition,
Yeah.
BlackRock helped them out.
Yeah. They also get like a small stake, right? Minority
Yes.
stake when they sell it to.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Right.
So, in fact, how BlackRock helped them out is one partially for a stake, and one was given as an amount to Byjus, which they had to return back to BlackRock.
Right. Like a small loan.
Yeah, not even a loan.
Yeah.
It was given like they were expecting the money back, right? Now, Byjus was hungry for more investment so that they can expand their footprint into every continent on the world.
Right. And I also remember now, like one of these other acquisitions, I think it was like they were developing games for like, I think like third standard to eighth standard kids. They were just developing games, and Byju's went and bought them as well because
GeoGebra?
yeah, mostly that. Yeah. And like there have been too many, like Topper and like Scholar, and all of these. So Byju's just once they also tied up with Akash, and so they started getting into different fields as well. Like let's say JEE, NEET, GRE, GMAT.
They already had a good hold on JEE NEET market online. But with Akash acquisition, online and offline Byju's.
Yeah. And they started their own like test series with by buying Topper and like all of these other like companies which were working on tests and test series.
Yes.
They just bought them, put it out under Byju's.
Yes, definitely. Byju's was trying to become the leading education provider.
Ah.
There was even talks of opening a Byju's university.
Right.
Yes, where graduation happens from Byju's.
Okay.
Online university.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. And there are a few other like people who are doing that right now as well. But I can just imagine what the scale of Byju's would have done.
No, see, others who are doing, they are doing skill-based courses.
Yeah.
You don't have an online engineering university.
Yeah.
You don't have an online doctor is difficult. You don't have an online accounting university. Like you can't become a CA online, or you can't become an engineer online. Right. For that you need the classes.
Yeah.
So Byju's was toying with the idea of from first standard to till you get your degree. You're in a university, and that degree education, I mean the degree certificate is valid, considered as valid grounds of education. Yeah. Right. So they were experimenting with a lot. They are still experimenting because Byju's, they have a very good set of founders and directors. Right. To be truthful, they have stretched their limits. Where all, how all to do it needs to be done, they have done it well. Right. And that too from an Indian company, it's really great.
Exactly. And like at their peak, they were $22 billion dollars.
Yes. BlackRock's valuation in 2021, it was at 22.
Yeah, 22 billion
dollars. And they were just acquiring.
Yeah. And also the three people who basically had like the majority stake in it, basically Byju Raveendran and like his wife and his brother. So the three of them were worth over $3 billion. Yes. Like like for a certain period of time.
So Byju's Raveendran, he has 25% stake today, and his wife and the management included, they have 5%. Right. Basically, they own 30% together. Yeah. So that's 70% has all gone into funding. Yeah. Right. So this is how structure has been, and 30% of 22 billion is, 25% of 22 billion is it's somewhere around 6 billion.
5 billion.
5 billion to 6 billion dollars.
Yeah. And like the fact that you just brought up his wife, Hannah. Like, do you know about the story how they met?
No, I don't know.
So actually, what happened was basically, she like the wife came to like Byju Raveendran as a student, as a GRE student or some student. She basically wanted to study under him, and like she was doing well, and like Byju basically like encouraged her to become
personal
a teacher.
Classes.
Yeah. No, so she used to ask doubts, apparently. She used to ask like good questions. So like inquisitive questions, and like which are like food for thought kind. Okay. So after classes. So he used to encourage her to become a teacher herself, because she used to ask the right questions and she understood basically the breadth of the topic.
Okay.
So he actually pushed her to become a teacher. Yeah. And like one thing led to another, and like they got
Yeah,
married.
Divya Gokulnath. Today
Yeah,
also
Divya
she's teaching.
Gokulnath, exactly. And to like during COVID as well, and even in on Byjus, like the number of classes that they have, a bunch of them are taken by her. Like she takes up a few classes in terms of video, and like it's like a very fruitful relationship.
Yes.
And right now they have two kids, Anna. They're like two young kids.
Two young kids, yes.
Yeah.
They're having a happy life, is
Yeah.
what I've heard. Yeah. No, she's also a good enterprising woman. Like
Yeah.
when I've seen her interviews and I see her in most of the events of
Yeah.
Byjus, she does, as you said, she has a very good acumen.
Yeah.
Very much visible.
And they were like a part of the Forbes 40 under 40 list, and she was also one of the in the top 100 like times most inspiring women or something like that, for most empowering women for like from India. So all of those lists as well, she's featured in that. Like as a woman, like she's like played a like
Huge
an
role
equal,
in his
an almost equal role with
Byjus.
building the whole like
Byjus,
yeah,
yes.
Byjus as a firm, which is very inspiring for
True.
just women in general as well.
Definitely. You can always say this quote over here: behind every successful man, there's a woman.
Yeah.
But here, the woman is there with him.
Yeah.
It's
just
not behind,
hand in hand,
it's
yeah.
hand in hand.
Right.
Right?
That's what I know. And so we were speaking about Series F now, no?
So the Series F funding crisis. Now post 2021, after COVID, the world starts to open up,
Right.
and we find that online presence starts to go down.
Right.
So, kids start going back to their schools and colleges,
Right.
and there is, the turnover that they had in 21, they cannot reflect in 22.
Yeah.
So slowly business starts to go down for Byjus.
Right.
Now what Byjus does is, at this point of time, they start looking for more investment and acquisition of particular startups.
Okay.
Plus, they're dealing with certain startups which are actually not doing good, especially White Hat Junior.
Right.
So what happens over here is in White Hat Junior, they market it that even a 6-year-old kid can learn to code.
Yeah.
And this excites a lot of parents,
Parents,
especially Indian parents,
Yeah, certainly.
who thought their kids are going to start coding from 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
And the way they market that, they start telling, there is a person, I don't remember the
Yeah,
name.
that's some
They created a fake person.
Yeah, 6
So-
to 14-year-old.
Kid, they created a 12 or 13-year-old kid with a fake, Wolf Gupta or something like that. And they show that he's earning around 1.2 crores. He's earning around 80 lakhs
Yeah.
at the age of 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And for Indian parents, that is
Yeah.
So they start, once White Hat Junior has been acquired, and when, they market it at that note, many parents start to, take
Right.
up courses over there. And
Yeah.
they further expand not only coding into music, into other subjects, mathematics,
Right.
all this, where one-to-one teacher training happens.
Right.
But later they realize, what they were, see, kids were making apps.
Yeah.
But what was happening is the teacher is sitting in the class and online, and she's just telling them, they have given the software to them,
Okay.
app making software,
Ah.
and they're just telling the kids, place this over here, place this over here,
Oh.
place this over here, and that's how the app gets done.
Ah.
There is no amount of free, foundation, nothing.
Creative thought.
No
nothing,
creative
zero.
thought, how to do it, nothing.
Yeah.
There is just directions.
Yeah.
You keep placing these over here. Finally, you have an app, and the kids went and showed their parents, and the parents are happy.
Yeah.
My kid did an app.
Yeah.
But software engineers, when they had put their kids over there, once they sat down to see what they are teaching,
Right.
then they realized
It was
that
just-
it is just a direction-based training.
drag
It's
and
not
drop.
coaching or
Yeah.
teaching. It is training.
Yeah.
And further, when these parents started interacting with the instructors, they got to know that the instructors don't know anything about software.
Oh.
Even they have been given a sheet of
Directions.
and they are just going through it. So this started to happen. So that's where White Hat Junior started facing a lot of crisis.
Ah.
There was there was a huge uproar against White Hat
Yeah.
Junior, telling that this is not the way classes is to be conducted.
And there's ASCI now. So basically, they are the advertisement board.
Advertising Standards
Yeah.
Council of India.
Yeah. So those guys also were like, basically when they used Wolf Gupta and all of these like like these sound very unethical. Like
Yes.
it's you are coming up with something fake to hit the spot in every
Yes.
dimension, but like that's just not ethical. It's just it should not be allowed to be able to do that. So that's when they that was also another dimension of an issue for White Hat Junior as well. So I can only imagine how much that would have impacted Byju's in general.
Even the parents, like many
Yeah.
people, the Byju's K plus 12 modules, they were good. They were doing very good business. But once Byju started venturing into these areas, the bad names that were coming to White Hat started coming on Byju's too.
Right.
So it became though the traditional businesses they were doing good,
Yeah.
these businesses started to impact Byju's.
Right. Right.
Firstly, then you find that further, but Byju's was still on an expansion drive,
Yeah.
and he wanted to raise more money to
Huh.
sustain the business, especially market expansion. He was planning with Qatar Investment Authority.
Right.
He was actually planning to enter into of African countries, North
Right.
African countries, where they can make a good base,
Huh.
and where education is really a challenge.
Yeah.
So I thought giving them online education, that would be the way forward.
Hmm.
Considering all these aspects, when he went for the last Series F funding, he didn't get the amount that was expected.
Yeah.
So they raised in total somewhere around 700 to 800 million.
Okay.
And in that, half the amount was invested by Byju's Raveendran itself.
Okay.
Because initially, two investors came up, Scott and Sons.
Huh.
They came up, and they were ready to invest around 250 or 375 million, somewhere around 375 million. And looking at no other investor coming in, Byjus he himself invested 400 million
Huh.
as a saving grace.
Right.
That it was a successful round,
Yeah.
right? But they needed money. Finally, it was his money only what he had to
Yeah.
put. But they still wanted more money.
Yeah. But
So-
the atmosphere was
Yes.
like it just started going like down. Like the confidence in general for the company just started falling down. And once this happened, like Byju Raveendran had to take and like put his hand in himself, and that's how.
As a saving grace.
Yeah.
But now money was required.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Right.
For the first time, Byjus they don't go for a funding. They
Yeah.
give for a debt.
Okay.
So this is where the problem starts for Byjus.
Huh.
So in 2022,
Huh.
they go for a debt.
Okay.
They raise $1.2 billion.
Okay.
That's a huge amount of debt.
Huh.
No banks were willing
Yeah.
to come forward and put so much of money
Yeah.
into the
One company,
into
yeah.
one company. They
Yeah.
wanted to keep a diverse
Yeah.
basket. Finally, certain investors step in.
Yeah.
BlackRock led.
Yeah.
BlackRock is one of the most famous investing agencies,
Yeah.
right? They literally own half the world. They tell
Yeah.
people tell BlackRock.
Yeah.
They have invested in so many companies.
Right.
So BlackRock steps in and they say, okay, we are going to fund, and they give them $1.2 billion worth of loan.
Okay.
So Byju's from funding to loan they have moved to.
Huh.
Now with this funding further, problem starts to arise because of the sales tactics that Byju's has been using.
Right.
See, we have seen a good growth of Byju's, but the underbelly of it,
Yeah.
what you see behind the scenes,
Yeah.
that is more important.
Yeah.
Because
the grass.
yes,
The
what's happening?
grassroots levels.
Yes, what's happening on ground? The salesmen, they have been continuously harassed in Byju's,
Yeah.
right? So this is what we get to hear, like what's been put on LinkedIn, all these,
Right. Right.
like how the culture is. Even certain audio clips went viral of Byju's,
Huh.
where they said, I don't care, I need the money.
Yeah.
I need you to get that sale done. I need that money. So it's a very toxic culture.
Yeah. It is certainly a very toxic work culture. And because, so let's say, like in the hierarchy of the company, like we don't know where this like originated, but like let's say the managers and all of them, and they put a lot of pressure on these salespersons, and these people keep like even going further down, they call up parents. So what used to happen, like when we were also studying in like 11th and 12th and like 9th and 10th and all. So what used to happen is they used to conduct these auditoriums, and like they used to call us to those places, and like they conduct a few classes or some tests, gather all our data. Once they get the data, they used to pester you, Anna. They used to keep calling. Like let's say like so one Byju's person calls you in the morning. Another person will call the same number and he'll call you by afternoon or evening. And like this used to happen in a row for like 2-3 weeks. And like it comes to a point where parents are just mad at like whoever says they're from Byjus. We're like, no, we do not care. Like, you know how many times to tell you that you should not keep calling us. Like, so basically the toxic work culture, it got spread down, and it got spread to the bottom. Yeah.
And that was where, since they used to call, that was a sales tactic.
Yeah.
They would call you continuously. And they would request you to give them an opportunity to show a demo.
Yeah.
So once after listening to so many times, so many calls, okay, come down once, you should give me your demo.
Exactly.
Maybe then the calls will stop.
Yeah.
Right? So they would come down for a demo.
Yeah.
And now here is what happens. Once they come down for a demo, they see the kid.
Yeah.
The salesmen, they have been trained in such a way that, for example, if you take a 4th standard kid, fractions is a bit of difficulty.
Yeah.
So they would give a problem to the kid. And they would say, try to solve this. And the kid would not know.
Yeah.
Like, he's not so good in fractions.
Yeah.
And now they would say, see, if your kid, first they would ask what dream you have. The kid would say, I want to become a doctor or an engineer.
Yeah.
That's what's in India.
Yeah.
And they would create the fear. See, they're not able to do that. Going forward, still the outcomes will start going down. Foundation is not good. They would scare the parents, telling that if you want your kid to become a doctor or an engineer, you need to take the Byjus product.
Just induce paranoia into just parents' minds,
and
that's enough. Parents want like the best for their kids, and they'll do anything. Like they'll do anything it takes for getting the best for their kids. But like that's what. So that's where they got like many early adopters, like all of these. Let's say a middle class family who has like a software engineer parents who know that they are not able to put in a lot of time to their kids, are like, okay, if we need some assistant, Byjus is here to assist us with helping our kids. And that's what they did. And so these guys, they were able to convince like these, like, a certain set of crowd to perform this activity. And that's when they got their initial
that's how their business model developed.
Yeah.
And further, see, now after a particular point of time, especially after things started to open up in 2021-22, the refund system was very bad in Byjus. So they told 15 days, no questions asked, refund. But once the sale is done, how many times you call Byjus, they won't respond. The salesperson don't pick up your call.
Right.
And getting a refund from Byjus was a very big task.
Right.
It even went to the consumer protection. Finally, the consumer courts had to come out and tell Byjus, no, you are doing this wrong. You need to, your promise of 15-day refund, you need to get into that system.
Right.
So it was a wake-up call for Byjus also.
Yeah.
Now with all these things were started to come out in 2021, that Byjus is, the way the sales is being done. And even, the sales people started actually scolding the parents. They started giving gali to the parents. Why you don't take? Because there was other startups rising too. Like Physics Wala, all these people who are Vedanta was rising, but Physics Wala, all these, they are providing, for example, IIT courses at very affordable prices, 4,000, 5,000.
Yeah.
So Byjus is giving it at a very expensive, around in lakhs.
Yeah.
So definitely, there's a huge contrast, and Byjus started, they used to, when parents used to say these are being given at these rates, so they used to start cursing the parents. All these things used to happen. So Byjus sales team started garnering a bad name.
Yeah.
And now with the pressure that was mounting on the Byjus sales team, this is where the problem starts.
Yeah.
So they'll get laid off if they don't perform, the sales team.
Yeah.
So what does the sales team do? The sales team, they start funding, the sales on their own. Like anyway, they're getting a salary with incentive. Now in Byjus, you have a system of EMIs.
Okay.
So in the EMIs, what they used to do is, suppose a course is 50,000, 10-month EMI, 5,000.
Right.
So now what this worker would do is, all the sales team, they would put the 5,000
Ah.
together, like for each and every person 100, 200.
Yeah.
They would together
Yeah.
put the 5,000 and say a down payment of 5,000 has been made, a product has been sold
Right.
to save their jobs.
Ah.
Because anyway, they are getting good income and
Right.
sales incentive is also there.
Yeah.
So some amount of money would come back to them.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the major issue starts for Byjus. When this was happening, what Byjus did is they didn't show the revenue realized as 5,000.
Okay.
They showed the revenue realized as 50,000
Right.
in the books.
Right. Right.
But where's the 45,000? Not in the bank account.
Yeah.
Now, this is why, from 2021 audited results it took a lot of time to come out in 22. And even now, the current auditing results, Byjus is still taking time to come out with it. They
Yeah.
are telling technical error,
Yeah.
but huge problems have come up because of this culture.
It's been over like 18 months or something.
Yes,
where they haven't submitted
2021
yet.
audited results came in September 22.
Ah.
That's very late.
Yeah.
And the results were actually, it showed a different picture.
Yeah.
Byjus went on to say that we are growing more than 10% per year.
Yeah.
But when the results came, their growth has been merely 4%.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas their debt, which was 300 crore in 2020, by the end of 2021, it is 4,600 crores. And the revenue realized is 2,500 crores, somewhere around 2,500.
Oh.
So it's like, they're spending 2 rupees to earn 1 rupee.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this was the crisis. And the book accounting, all this created a mess.
Yeah.
So now here what happens is, because of this mess, Deloitte refuses to go ahead with Byjus.
Okay.
They resign as their auditing partner.
Okay.
And Deloitte has been there since 2016.
Yes, Anath. Look, apparently Byjus was in the list of Deloitte fastest 50 growing companies.
Yes.
From like when they started and up to date. Like they've been there constantly.
They have been there.
So basically that's a relationship that they built over the years.
Yes.
And Deloitte is ready to part ways because of like such an auditing flaw.
Yes, there was because of this, Deloitte just walked out, telling no, we are resigning as your partner, because they didn't. It's one of the big 4 companies.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be seen as
no black
managing such companies.
Yeah.
Now further, after that, ED, everyone started to ask, show us the accounts. Enforcement Directorate, everyone started stepping into Byju's companies, and they started raids were conducted, ED raids.
Right.
What's happening with the money?
Right.
Now, because they raised a $1.2 billion loan. You remember?
Yeah.
From BlackRock.
Yeah.
Now here is what happens. Because of the sales fiasco and the accounting delay, BlackRock, when they signed that deal, $1.2 billion deal of loan, they said that repayment is happening. But if audited results are not given on time, then we might have to restructure the loan.
Oh.
We might even ask you to pay back the complete loan immediately.
Oh, okay.
So these conditions were put by BlackRock. Byjus had accepted at the point of signing the deal.
Yeah.
Now what happens is, Byjus, they released the results very late, not on time.
Yeah.
And finally BlackRock comes out and says, you don't give me the complete amount, you give me $200 million immediately. So Byjus says, you don't take the $200 million, you increase the interest rate by 2%,
Okay.
200 basis points. So BlackRock says, that is a different thing. We are going to increase the interest rate because now there is more risk involved with you.
Yeah.
Because of all these defaults, all the things that are coming out, there is more risk involved with you. You first make us an upfront payment of $200 million.
Okay.
Then Byjus said, no, it's not possible.
Right.
Now there was a tussle between them. Finally, Byjus went and lodged a case in the court today. And first time a startup has defaulted on this loan. They have to pay somewhere around 46 million or $50 million. They have not paid it to BlackRock.
Okay.
As the interest payment.
Yeah.
So this is where, BlackRock, which had valued the company in 2021 at $22 billion, valued it to $11 billion 2 months back.
Yeah.
That is in March.
Yeah.
And today, last month, they have valued the company to $8 billion.
Oh.
So
it's like
they've come down by 1/3.
Now 1/3.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've come down by almost 1/3. Today, Byjus is valued at $8 billion.
Right.
And even today, Byju's, Raveendran and his team are finding it difficult to give the next audited results.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the results also,
Yeah.
why is there such a huge loss? 4,600 or 700 crores of loss.
Huh.
It's mainly because you find that White Hat Junior constitutes almost 25 to 27% of the losses.
Oh,
It's the
so
biggest loss making
It
company.
was the biggest chunk of like the
Yeah.
loss.
That's
So White Hat Junior was kind of the like major reason for where the downfall just
the
began.
black box.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is absorbing.
Yeah. And like there was also a lot of talk about how they're not like filling in the PF of different employees,
Yes.
and they're not like inside itself they're doing a lot of restructuring in terms of
In
their
the name of
finances.
restructuring, almost 4,000 employees have been laid off.
Yeah.
And see, marketing expenses is another aspect that you have to look. Why Byju's losses are widening?
Right.
The marketing expenditure is crazy of Byju's. Up till Indian cricket team, that was okay. But once they started venturing into FIFA,
Yeah.
that's an
Right.
international event.
Right.
You have, the sponsors of FIFA. You have people like Kia Motors,
Yeah.
who are earning nearly 4 lakh crore
Yeah.
per year.
Oh my
For
God.
them, 30-40 million is not a huge amount
Yeah, it's
to
nothing.
sponsor.
Yeah.
But Byju's, with a revenue realization, profit realization of 2,000 to 3,000 crores,
Yeah.
they are investing 20 to 30 million
Yeah.
for FIFA sponsorship. So these kind of marketing expenses
Yeah.
and signing up Lionel Messi at the wrong
Messi,
time
yeah,
when layoffs are happening.
Exactly.
Word came out that they're signing up Lionel Messi for somewhere around $5 to $7 million a year.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount.
Yeah. And like all of these are like when like let's say we're just a general public and we're just listening to all of these and you're like, okay, you start to question a lot of things.
Yes.
You're like, okay, do you think they're doing the right thing? Like clearly not. Like a rational mind would say no. And but like these guys took that ahead. They thought they were thinking more of like maybe like they were thinking more of like the global like appeal.
Yes.
Because they wanted to
They wanted to become an
become a
international
glo- yeah,
company,
international
MNC.
company.
No, but there's a point. See, when Byjus Raveendran was asked about this Lionel Messi thing,
Yeah.
so he did. See, there's a point. You can't sign Lionel Messi overnight.
Yeah.
It takes few months
Yeah.
for us to completely sign the contract and get him on board.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in an instant.
Yeah.
Before all this started, we were in talks with Lionel Messi. Yes, considering that's okay, this has started, but still going ahead with the deal in times of crisis,
Yeah.
they should have thought about
Yeah.
it. They should have thought about that.
That is true. There was a lot of like black light on the company itself, like
Yes.
in various like dimensions as such,
Yes.
which like led to the situation that they're facing right now.
Yes.
And about the PFs also, like that is just straight up going against the rules of how a company must run in a nation.
True.
So like what do you think could be the impact of that, and just in terms of like business ethics, in terms of
To be frankly, to speak about Byjus even today,
right,
I would say their idea is still there.
right,
The ideas are still great validity.
that is true.
And the way they're looking at markets is really great. Like, looking at the North African market
Yeah,
and the Arab market,
yeah,
they have a huge, in fact, when you look at their balance sheets, you find that it's in India they're making losses.
exactly.
In US, they're in profit.
Yeah.
In Qatar, all these countries, they're in profit. In the Middle East. It's only in India that Byjus is making losses
Yeah.
because of this extravagant expenditure.
Yeah.
The sales team, all this water, the numbers, it has created a chaos for
Yeah.
Byjus.
Also, like they are apparently in all these other English speaking nations of like the Western Europe and like just the West in general also. They have like a very good review. Like people are very grateful for Byjus for doing this.
Yes.
Because they are like they're just spreading education in general,
Yes.
spreading knowledge,
Yes.
and so they have like a very good like light there.
Definitely, no, Byju's videos, the content, everything, it is good.
Yeah,
It is definitely good.
yeah,
It has huge potential in India too. It is mainly because of the way it has been executed.
Yeah.
It is facing problems in India.
yeah,
even looking at the future, Byjus definitely holds a major spot.
Right.
Right, it can become the company that it realized,
Right.
but it needs to do it on a long-term basis.
Hmm.
The thing is, Byjus has been trying to run more than run. He wants to go like a rocket,
Yeah.
but such endeavors require you to go like a ship,
Yeah.
firm and
exactly.
steady, so that you reach the harbor safely instead
That-
of
that's a-
combusting in the sky.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, you know.
Yeah.
Because when they start acquisitions, also they're just going and putting up too much on their plate than they
Yes.
can feed themselves.
Yes.
It's like it's just it was inevitable, Anna, in a way.
It's as I told, they are putting too much of weight on the rocket.
Yeah.
Rocket won't fly.
Cargo.
Only ship can take you.
Yeah.
How much of a load is there?
take
It
all
will
that.
float you to the harbor.
Right. That is true, Anna.
But yeah, Byjus definitely holds a great potential.
Hmm.
But yeah, one thing is the black mark.
Yeah.
Right now, what they are doing,
Yeah.
it's a huge black mark.
Yeah.
Layoffs, sales culture,
Yeah.
marketing expenses. So all this, they have to come out of it.
Yeah.
So there is definitely, in a company's growth story, up and downs are
Yeah.
definitely there.
Yeah.
All is not still bad. They need to come out of this accounting nightmare
Yeah.
that they've gotten themselves into,
Yeah.
and then they can steady the ship.
But
and see.
yeah, Anna. But speaking of it as like a small family, like in general, just Byju's itself, like he has a small kid and like he has another small kid on the way.
Yeah.
So they should just look at kids that they are like basically putting all of their effort into to teach and like better India,
Yeah.
like for a better India also. So they should look at all the kids as like their kids, like
In fact, actually, they did advertise. Byjus has done some very good social initiatives, like the aspirational districts program that we have.
right.
So in 112 aspirational districts program, Byjus is offered to provide education,
Right.
online education
Right.
to all the kids. These aspirational districts are nothing but backward districts
Yeah,
in India,
yeah.
which are facing very low social changes.
Yeah.
They don't have much investment in terms of education, health.
Yeah.
So Byjus has come forward and told that we'll provide educational facilities to them.
And in another addition to that, Anna, so during COVID, when the pandemic hit, so what Byju's did is they went and they reached out to people for like old smartphones, old like tablets or anything that they could put their content into, and they got it refurbished. And they put all of their content into that, and they distributed almost 13 million smartphone digital devices to like the public in India for free
Yeah.
during COVID with like the content that they like put out. So basically, during such global crises and all, education takes a very big hit.
Yes.
It's like there is no online classes are not that effective that this. So when you have someone who's been doing that and is an expert in that, and
Yes.
they take up such initiatives, it also shows like their positive
Yes.
enforcement of their vision.
Vision. True.
Yeah.
So overall, you can't rule Byjus as a negative company.
Yeah, that is
Because the change, definitely, the technology and the change they can bring is immense.
Yeah.
They need to, go with proper valuation, product valuations, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And further, the way the sales team gets organized and marketing standards need to be improved.
Right.
Right. Definitely, they don't need to splurge on marketing.
Yeah.
They can rationalize marketing
Yeah.
further
Yeah.
on how it should not be done. They should
Yeah.
take a lesson.
Like it feels it just felt so imposed, Anna. Like
Yes.
like just Byju's, the entry of Byju's in Bangalore itself, like from when we were growing up and everything, it just felt so imposed. It's like, but like that also could be we were speaking about the toxicity in the work culture, in the
Yes.
higher
In
hierarchy.
India, you should never push people to buy things.
Yeah.
They lose trust as soon as you push
Yeah.
people to buy things.
That is true. That is true. So
We
it's
trust
just
them
some-
less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just some cleaning up work. that
Yeah,
they have to do.
if they reorient their strategies,
Yeah.
then they're really good to go. It's still, see, it's not a major loss to them. 2,000 crores.
Yeah.
That's reflecting on the papers. It's not a major loss if they're already restructuring.
Right.
If they right size things and if they put in right strategies,
Right.
they will definitely, because they have a huge subscriber base.
Yeah.
They have a subscriber base more than 18 lakh
Yeah. And
paying
like,
customers.
yeah, paying customers and all. And they have almost 3 times that who just view for like free.
Yes.
Or for like 15 days or
Yes.
something, who just like get such like, and they have such, basically just compilations of like PDFs and everything.
Yes.
So when they have a lot of users, that
They
is for
do
sure,
have
and
a
they've
lot of
attracted a lot of online crowd as well.
Yes.
Like it's good, and like India needs all of these digital revolutions
Yes.
to happen in
Yes.
such ways.
At least Competition Commission of India might step into this. Byjus should not become a monopoly, because
Yeah.
we find that Byjus has been offering even to Vedantu and
Yeah.
an academy
Exactly.
deals.
Yeah.
Right? They have been giving around $1 to $1.5 billion deal. It has been offered to Vedantu and an academy.
Yeah. And
Until now, we haven't seen any acquisition, but hopefully this doesn't happen, because
Yeah.
you need competition.
yeah.
Only
that is
then
true.
quality comes out.
Yeah. When they started off also, I think it was a couple of years ago when they tried to buy Vedantu for I think $700-800 million, and then that's where some issues came up, and they the deal did not happen.
Yes.
But like you said, the competition is very necessary.
Very much necessary
Yeah.
in the tech space.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is about Byjus.
Yeah.
And
And
the Byjus, the rise, the rule. Is it the fall? We don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is not, since it's an Indian company.
Right.
We would love to see it
Yeah,
grow
yeah.
back to its fullest potential.
Right. And yeah, hi guys. So that's a wrap. And now I think if there have been a lot of issues that were discussed, a lot of topics that we touched upon. Please do let us know what you guys think about our takes on it as well. And please do put drop in your takes on it as well. And we would love to we would love it if you guys would shower all your support on us. Please do help us grow. Thank you. You can share, subscribe, and comment. And see you next time.